The,
Okay.
the one for the Epoch drop is the one that's done on the Cardano blockchain of the Cardano network. So that's the one that would use the Eternal network or Eternal wallet.
Okay. Okay.
You're perfect, man. You did perfectly, bro.
I,
Absolutely. I know all this can feel and get confusing. Sometimes it gets very confusing to me, um, being new to this too. So don't feel bad about it. Don't let it be discouraging, because there are times when I get discouraged about how much I'm not picking up at any given point in time. But it's been what, 2 years that I've been learning about this stuff, and I still feel like I barely scratched the surface.
There's a lot to learn.
Yeah,
gotcha.
There
yeah.
is a lot.
I think everybody agree to that. Everybody that's in here. Yeah, I know Q said he wants to come in. Let me just double check with the fellas if you don't mind. See if anybody else wants to jump in.
Oh, it's all good. Tell Mizzo to get in here.
He said he actually won't be able to make it. I thought he was going to make it, but he's had quite a day, I believe.
Ah,
But you can roast him anyway.
I'm gonna roast him. I'm roast him. If it wasn't international calling, I'd call him on his phone. But yeah, no, I gotta just next time I see him, make sure he knows he's a bum.
Let me
20 by 1080.
that'll probably make him feel good. Maybe that'll egg him into whatever's going on in the dropping the fire.
Oh yeah.
And I've heard of one link. Let me get one more off to the crew. You about to say something, Zoe?
Nah, I was just saying, where is everybody?
That's a good question, man. I know it's a hard thing on Mondays, man. Weekdays in general, I think.
I mean, it's not like anyone. I don't know. It was kind of a chill day today. I feel like of all the Mondays. I guess it depends on where you are, in the world. But I don't know if they celebrate in Canada the way that we do here.
Yeah, I have no idea, to be honest, man. Like zero. It was Demo. All right. And I think Al B wanted to be here, but he wasn't going to be able to. What's up, Demo?
Yo, peace.
Green screen. Looks like he's about to perform for a minute. Man, I'm jealous because your autofocus is working and mine isn't. All right. And we're on now. What is going on here?
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Beautifully.
Oh, that's dope. I've never seen this. Zoom on my phone reminded me about it and just hit me up with a little join option right off the break.
Yo, peace.
Peace, peace.
Peace.
And me fine.
Yeah, we're probably at our saturation point for right now. Happy Monday.
I'm gonna go grab get some water real quick.
Okay. New problem. So you said you got a lot going on tonight, Jimmy?
Yeah. Well, fortunately, so there's I don't know if you guys are familiar with Book Token. It's it's quite literally a project that releases books in the form of NFTs. So when you have this NFT, you can connect to Book Token's website, and it scans your wallet. If you have the NFT, it gives you access to read that book right on their website. There is an author who's dropping a book in a couple of days. His name is David Wilson. He's had a couple, I think, New York Times bestsellers, but he was he had some questions about just Cardano related stuff in general, because he also does, we were in a space together a couple of days ago for Cardano over coffee, and he was interested in doing some audiobooks, and that's like my shit. So he had some questions just about how all of that stuff kind of worked and how you operate around there. But we're going to end up doing that tomorrow. So that frees up a little bit of time. I do have a couple mints that I need to get set up, but shouldn't be too bad. I'm glad that I was kind of worried that I wasn't going to get home in time for this. So I'm super fucking pumped that I could be here and join this so we can get this going.
Yeah, we're all appreciative of that. We're all excited about that. So you say you're used to doing audiobooks, or you're comfortable doing that? That's your shit. How do you do them? Like, do you read them yourself, or do you mint them? What's your role in the audiobook production process?
So I don't know how to read, so that'd be really hard. But so with audiobook, we actually I kind of took it upon myself to, because like no one had done it yet. Like we have books. Let me pull this up because I think this was something I was going to show you, and then I just probably fucking dropped the ball and failed.
We went everywhere yesterday, man. I can understand.
We did. Went on a journey.
Yeah, it was a dope combo though, man. I appreciate it.
During the holidays, I minted Cardano's first audio book. So what I did is, let me just switch that around. We did a Christmas Carol. I pushed this out like right before Christmas time. So I got it because a lot of stuff that Book Token does is in the public domain. So it's like, you know what? Christmas Carol's in the public domain. I can get this. I'm just going to make it. I'm going to give it out for free. There was an audiobook that was in the public domain too. So I got a full on, like, we got a full ass version of the book. I built like this whole piece here so you can read the book. And then there are 5 different chapters of the book, and I snagged just the audio pieces for him, and I uploaded in there. I can, and I do want to do some book reading. I think that would be really cool. I don't have the time or the patience for that. I have all the audio recording stuff. Like I've got a couple decent microphones, nothing too crazy. Most of what I record off of is from it's a Zoom H6. It's a pretty sweet little microphone, like for what I do. Like it's mainly just like shitty acoustic punk rock music, so you don't have to be good anyways. But it's this guy right here.
Oh yeah, I've seen
So
that.
I love this because you can like get different modules for this, but then you also have 4 XLR inputs, and it makes it super nice to be able to just run in a couple things like right off of this, interface it with the computer, or pop some AA's in it and just take it wherever, because everything I do for the most part is acoustic, so it doesn't take much to do. But yeah, with books, just trying to do that so we can get some variety in here.
Hey, if you guys need readers, I'm down to actually do some volunteer audiobook reading.
Yo, that would be cool. Like I'm first looking for, I want to find some authors who want to release stuff in some unique ways, and it would be cool to have like almost like a talent bench of readers that could do that, because it's honestly like a lot of people go like, how hard could it be to sit there and read a fucking book? But bro, like sometimes like it's like you can't miss. You have to read it flawlessly, and then we have to edit it and piece it all together, and yeah, it can be wild.
It's funny. The stuff I do, the volunteer stuff for, is stuff that's out of the it's in the public domain, so it's not copyrighted anymore. So it's like really old material. A lot of scientific articles, a lot of like ancient books, stuff like that. So it's like more challenging, some of the language in there.
Oh man, what don't you do, man?
Gotta keep myself occupied up in these hills, man. I drive myself up the wall.
Gotta do it.
That's dope, man. I love it. That recorder you showed me, I saw that when I was starting to study and getting into studying videography. Like I was looking at a lot of the wedding photographers were saying they're big on using those recorders to catch audio from weddings and stuff like that. So
they're fantastic for that.
Yeah. And then how about poetry? How big is poetry on Cardano?
Not as big as it should be. I think that there's that's kind of the next step. There's a guy that I met at CNFTCon through Matt Diamond, who's an artist that you guys will meet on Saturday, and he published a book that was just like straight poetry, and we're working on. He has to get some of like the, when you release things on like Amazon or whatever, they make you keep it exclusive to Amazon for a certain period of time. But
Yep.
once that opens up, we're looking at tokenizing it and putting it in an NFT. So there's a lot of different things that we can do because we can do audio, we can do video, we can do the written text, we can do, I mean, there's so much cool shit that we can do with this. We have a lot of options for that. But yeah, poetry is, I think, something that probably should be more prevalent in the space, but it's just like those artists aren't here yet. Like, so think about, I mean, they're here, but they're not in numbers that are calculatable. I think of the majority of the NFTs just in general aren't very original. There's a lot of AI shit. There's a lot of just which is fine. Like some of the AI stuff looks really good and that's cool. I think there's a market for it. But like I think that when you talk about like lyricists and poets, like that's art on like such a different level that I don't know that some of the people who are in this space will appreciate yet. Because you got a lot of degens, right? Like people want to collect like monkeys that look sad. And it's like they don't necessarily give a shit about like something as like real as poetry, at least from my experience so far. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it'll be
Which kind of sucks, but
yeah, my fiance's planning on dropping something next month. She's working on a poetry book. We do visuals for it, like we record and film some interesting visuals for her to go along with her poetry and all that. And she's trying to figure out how she wants to release it. So when it's time, she's ready. I'll reach out to you, man. See what.
Bro, I would love to put something together because I think that there is a large group of people who would appreciate that, and it just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist here yet.
Yeah. Okay. We'll definitely reach out, man. For sure.
Boom.
All right. So do we want to get into the Epoch drop? I know it's a Monday night. We want to give everybody a chance to ask whatever questions. I don't want to monopolize anybody's time this evening because I can ask you questions all night and we can talk about any and everything.
Yo, I'm chill. I got until 3 a.m. So don't actually go until 3 a.m. because that would be a fucking marathon. But I'm available to answer anything that you guys have. There's not a silly question in this. It's very new. I know that Cardano is different than some other chains, and so I want to kind of attack it from a just I'm used to explaining this to every single type of person. So like don't feel like your question might be too basic or like a dumb question or whatever, because that so far I haven't encountered one of those yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're gonna have people from understanding levels from, I guess we could say, somewhat intermediate all the way down to I hate NFTs and digital assets on to I'm just starting to get familiar with what a wallet is. So I think if we can try and cover that range,
hell yeah,
as best we can, it'll be helpful to us and our community.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I and if I give an explanation and it still leaves some to be desired, just let me know, because sometimes I find myself doing that. Like I live in this space and I have lived in this space for the last year, like hardcore. So sometimes I don't realize that when I open my mouth, I just like sound like a buffoon, not explaining things well enough.
Yeah, it gets pretty easy because I mean it's like you're starting to talk another language at some point, and you don't realize that you're so immersed in that new language that you're speaking a new language that people don't quite understand. So
right,
I get it. I'll try and ask as many questions as I can to get us as close to the simplest explanation as possible. But even I sometimes drop the ball and miss that. So if there's something that's not understood by anybody else on the call, just please feel free to jump in and ask the question. However however the question comes to mind. Don't worry about trying to word the question perfectly. We can all figure it out together, because that's what the people who are listening and watching will need from us.
Word.
Cool. Well, I guess one of the first things that would probably be helpful is to just go into what is Cardano. I think that's a great starting point. We're talking about Web3, blockchains, cryptocurrency, NFTs, because Grayskull just dropped our first NFT on the Cardano blockchain through Six City, or with Six City. He took care of all the extra legwork. He made sure he walked this dog all the way through. He told us every bit of information we needed to provide to him for him to do this. It's a promo drop. It's not one that we did for profit. It's one we did to introduce ourselves to the Cardano community. But I'm sure there are a lot of surrounding questions around that we should cover and touch on. Jimmy, would you mind just touching on what, maybe let's start with what Cardano is, or what a Cardano NFT is?
Sure. Yeah. So Cardano is just a crypto blockchain, just like tons and tons and tons of others that exist today. A couple things that I think Cardano does uniquely and differently is just how they handle their transaction validation. So a lot of you are familiar with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum, while they have made the switch from proof of work to proof of stake, proof of work being, mining and things of that nature to validate transactions and to mint new coins. Cardano is a proof of stake, so it doesn't rely on, it doesn't rely on big graphics cards, miners. In fact, you can. Let me grab this because this is my favorite example. You can validate transactions on something like this. It's a Raspberry Pi. It's a tiny little, this particular one was like a $65 computer. You can do your entire minting service through something like that. You can run stake pools off of it. And there are a large group of people who do this and specifically run them off of solar panels to have like no carbon footprint on there, which is pretty impressive. Cardano also does a whole lot in terms of, I feel like we see, or personally, I've seen a lot more humanitarian efforts coming through Cardano over the other ones. It could be just because like Cardano is relatively new, so we're not seeing as many projects as where like your Ethereum projects are just, there's new ones coming out every second. Most of them are rug pulls. And so that's a story for another day. Cardano NFTs are, I'd say they're pretty on par with any other NFT. When people have their like baseline idea of what an NFT is, a lot of people think it's a JPEG, it's an image. And for a large portion of NFT's history, which hasn't been very long, that's been the case. The really neat thing is now we've started to be able to incorporate higher levels of multimedia in these assets, being obviously like music, videos. I just showed you a book with audio attached to it. I have done 3D assets that can be imported into the metaverse, like a lot of different types of media we're finding are starting to be really implemented into NFTs. And as as regulation starts to hit, which is, as much as a lot of people bitch about that, regulation I think needs to hit so that we can get a clear definition of what people define these as, because I think there are a lot of people who are really holding back on jumping into this space because they're afraid that the government's going to come in and just say this is nothing, and then they're afraid they're going to lose something. So I think regulation and at least the clear definitions are really important, so we can get an idea of what certain governing bodies define as what type of assets these are. And once that happens, I think we're going to start to see way more people come in. And for example, up in the top corner of my screen, it says Go Key. That's even go as high as this. this is a project I'm working on with my buddy Craig Immel, who's the owner of Goki, and it is quite literally tokenized real estate and making home ownership and property ownership like recognizable and attainable through blockchain, which is kind of crazy. Like if you think in a couple of years, it could be very, very possible that you may have an NFT in your wallet that represents the ownership of your home or your vehicle or something, some other tangible asset that you own in the real world. It's very, very likely that we'll start to see those types of things going, because one, transferring those assets is super easy. It's very transparent. It's a good way of I mean, it's super, super transparent. Everything on the blockchain is viewable, even though addresses are, to whatever extent you want to be anonymous. But I think those real world solutions are really going to start to come in once people realize what it is that we can do with them. So like right now, everyone is just seeing NFTs as sad monkeys. But once they start to see the music coming in, the video content coming in, the real world type solutions happening, and how blockchain can solve some of those problems, I think you're going to see a huge influx of people who are bought into that system.
That makes
I
sense.
know it's kind of a long-winded explanation, but there's a lot to talk about in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, you could go on forever with the answer. Honestly, there's so many different facets and ways to look at it. But based on that explanation, before I jump, I don't want to just keep jumping in and overrun anybody's opportunity to ask any questions in case they want some more clarification. Anybody else have any other questions before I go in? Cool.
Perfect.
Right. It makes it easy, right? You mentioned, I want to make sure that we break it down as simply as we can. You mentioned minting. Would you mind explaining what minting is?
Yeah. Minting is, I almost look at it like just as you would mint, like your governing body would mint money. It at some point in time, it was really nothing. And as soon as they stamp their name on it, it says, 5 cents or 1 penny or $1, it is minted. They've minted. The process of creating that asset, which we all agree has some kind of value. So the process of minting is quite literally taking a data set and we just make the tokens. That's all cryptocurrency is, in a sense, is just a digital asset. It's a token that it can represent whatever we decide we want it to represent. So if we want, in a lot of the cases that we're talking about, if we want it to represent just ownership of a song or the ability to listen to a song, cool. In cases of some other bigger tokens, you look at, we just look at Cardano, for example. Like the Cardano token, ADA, is just a token. But the second that we make a match with the US dollar and Cardano, well, now it becomes a liquid asset. It becomes something that we can buy and sell. And so the minting process brings it into existence. And then what you do with it is kind of up to you. It depends on what our use case is. Like there may be some things that we just want to mint to have. Like I have my son, he likes to draw. And I think it'd be really cool to just like mint those drawings as NFTs. I'm not going to do anything with them, but I want to keep them because they'll be there forever. And that's cool. At the same rate, I had a guy who's a friend of mine now. He wanted to make a token that, he wanted like 1 billion tokens that people could buy. So we minted 1 billion tokens and we matched it up with ADA so that people can buy and sell it with ADA. So yeah, minting is just bringing it into existence.
Perfect. And bringing it into existence on that particular blockchain, right? So
yes, sir. Yeah. Once it's on, you make it on Cardano, you don't take it anywhere else. It's got to be, what they have is called a native asset. So Cardano is the home. It's like it's the home. It's like your base asset. The native assets are tokens or NFTs that are created as a subcategory of that blockchain. So you'll never have like the 6city token that's minted on Cardano able to move into Ethereum. Technically, I guess it could be possible with certain types of bridges, but normally it's in 99.999% of all cases, it is specific to that blockchain.
Blockchain. Yeah, and I guess, you know, to even break it down simpler, a definition of a blockchain. I mean, we mentioned the names of some like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. Do you have a simple definition of a blockchain?
Yeah, a blockchain is, I mean, it's hard to say because like I want to say that the blockchain is everything, because it is. The blockchain is everything that's happened with that cryptocurrency. So with Bitcoin, for example, the blockchain is the ledger. It is every transaction that's ever been registered on Bitcoin since day one is part of the blockchain. And what's neat about blockchain is you can go back and look at the first transaction in Bitcoin. You can look at every transaction that's ever happened and see where those things are going. Now that would get really, really confusing because there's just a lot of, to us, arbitrary numbers. But yeah, the blockchain is just the ecosystem that works on, and it is comprised of just all of the transactions that have happened. So like when you're on Cardano, if you have a node, which is what you need to build in order to mint and create your own assets, you need to have a copy of the entire blockchain like with you on your computer, which is kind of cool to think about, that every single person who runs a relay node on Cardano or a stake pool has a copy of every single transaction that will ever happen on Cardano. Kind of neat.
That's beautiful. And is it fair to say like a blockchain is like a network?
Yeah.
Each one is its own network, so to
Yeah,
speak.
it is its own. Yeah, that's probably a much better way of saying it in simplest terms. Is it is its own network that just is everything that it is comprised of. What's that?
Public digital ledger.
Public digital ledger. Yep.
There we go.
Yeah, and then the ledger keeps a record of all the transactions that have taken place on that network. And then you mentioned the word node. Nodes are, in this case, nodes are always computers, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
each of the different computers on the network holds a copy of the transactions that took place on that network. Is that
Yep.
kind of simplified way of saying it? May not be perfect, but it kind of gets the point across, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. That's beautiful, man. And then you mentioned one other thing that I think we should probably clarify: stake pools. I think this may be a good time to mention that. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So there are a lot of ways that we incentivize, and crypto in general incentivizes people adopting and using their system or their network. For Cardano, the stake pool is probably the best way of doing it. So the stake pools promote decentralization by allowing pool operators to create essentially a relay node, a validator node, and a stake pool. And what people do is you can, if for any of you who have gotten your wallet, either Nami wallet, Giro wallet, Eternal wallet, any of those Cardano wallets, you'll find a place in there for staking or delegation. And it allows you to, and in most cases, when you're thinking of staking, for anyone who's been in certain crypto platforms, like I came from Ethereum and Binance, and whenever you did staking, you had to take your asset and send it out. It left your wallet, went somewhere else to be held, and then you would earn interest on that. But with Cardano, your ADA never leaves your wallet when you delegate to a stake pool. It's essentially like, hey, I'm on this team. And when you're delegated to a stake pool, the more ADA that stake pool has, the more likely that your stake pool will do what's called minting a block. Now, all of the Cardano coins that will ever exist don't exist yet, if that makes sense. So anytime we mint a block, it's good for 680 ADA. And how that works is, your stake pool actually has the program inside of it that can mint a block. It's based off of a couple different things. There's a little bit of luck involved, but the more ADA you have delegated to your pool, the better chance you have of minting a block. Once you mint a block, that's where you can earn pretty much like, you earn interest. And it's very dependent on a couple different things. In most cases, that ADA is separated in two ways. That 680, 340 goes to the stake pool operators so they can earn money, pay their expenses. The other 340 goes to all the delegators, separated, relative to how much they've delegated. So if you own, if your stake is 50% of the pool, you would get 50% of that 340 ADA for every block that's minted. The Cardano network or reward cycle works off of what we call an epoch. Epoch is 5 days. So every 5 days, you have the opportunity to mint one or more blocks. And it's, I've seen people mint 0, seen them mint 1, seen them mint 15. And it just kind of accumulates, and then the payout happens every 2 epochs. So if you get a mint a block in 2 epochs, I believe it's 2 epochs, you'll get your payout, and the delegators will also get their payout. When you have a wallet, like Eternal Wallet is nice because it tells you every epoch that your stake pool minted a block, and it'll tell you how much ADA you earned off of that, and it just gives you a graph through it as long as you want. It's pretty darn it's pretty cool. So it's a neat way for holders to earn extra just by essentially holding on to it and putting it in their wallet, getting it off of the exchanges. So a lot of folks have a lot of their crypto in Coinbase or in wherever. And we know based on recent events how well that's worked out for certain people. That's not been good. If I can emphasize one thing, it's get your crypto out of the goddamn exchanges and into a wallet, because if those companies go under, then there's a good chance you lose all your money, or the liquidity behind it that they hold is going to be total trash, and you're going to lose out. So keep it off the central exchanges, keep it in a wallet, keep it safe, keep it secure, keep it your own. And then, then you can earn, you have an opportunity to earn interest without the risk of losing your assets. So really important little side note there.
Absolutely, man. And you're making perfect sense so far for me. Anybody else have any other questions before I go on? I guess I should keep checking in because, like I said,
I have a question about that exchange thing you just mentioned. So I understand the risk of keeping it in exchanges, but how about like a Coinbase wallet? So Coinbase has their exchange, and they also have like a separate wallet. Would that be a separate, limiting the risk that way by keeping it in the Coinbase wallet instead of on the actual Coinbase exchange?
Yeah, Coinbase has it's just a branded thing that they built, which they did a good job at doing that. I think Coinbase probably did a better job than most on making crypto easier for people. There's still some hurdles, I think, but if you have the Coinbase wallet, I think that you're in good shape there. Personally, for all of the Ethereum-based stuff that I used to rock out, I used Trust Wallet just because it supported a whole bunch of stuff, and it seemed to be a little bit, easier for me to use. But no, I started with Coinbase Wallet because that was my first exchange I got on Coinbase and tried to learn it from there. I think Coinbase did a good thing when they put that wallet on there, because to me it was a pretty easy step in the right direction. But yes, if you're on Coinbase Wallet, your funds are safe.
It was the card that sold me the Visa you can get and just spend on anything you normally do.
Yeah, bro, I got so
on it 3% Ether back or whatever else.
Yeah, I think I was getting like 4% Stellar Lumens at for a period of time, and it was cool because there are certain department stores that allow you to pay your credit card with a debit card. And since the Coinbase is a debit card, I was able to use my credit card to get the rewards that the credit card gave, and then pay it off with my Coinbase card to get the 4% in Stellar Lumens. So that was a pretty damn cool little conversion there.
Hell yeah.
Get double benefits on that. That's beautiful, man.
Stacking.
Anybody else got any other questions on that piece?
And I'm just soaking it all up. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And we talk about it more and more over time to, repeat, because I know repetition is how it really sinks in. This is helping things sink in for me the more we talk about this. And I think one important thing to mention with Coinbase and Coinbase Wallet to kind of make it even clearer is you can get a Coinbase app from the App Store on iOS or on your iPhone. You also get the Coinbase Wallet app. It's a separate app. You take your Coinbase app, and that's what's called a custodial wallet, where all your money is held with Coinbase, kind of like holding your money in a bank. If you transfer your funds from the Coinbase app itself to Coinbase Wallet, now you've taken your money out of your bank and you've put it under your mattress, basically, so to speak. So now it's not with them. Now it's what they call decentralized. I don't know if that's bulletproof and it's absolutely yours. In that case, if there's some backdoor or anything, I'm always Mr. Tinfoil Tingles. So I always think there's a chance there could be some sort of risk still there, but that could just be me being Mr. Paranoid. One other thing you mentioned was minting blocks, right? What is the process for minting a block? Who initiates the process, and how do they kick that process off?
So the stake pool, and I'll be the first to say that I am probably not the best person to explain the mechanic that actually causes a block to be minted. Okay. But it is selected with a couple different variables. There is some luck in play there, but your chances of minting a block, the pool does that. Like the relay node does the minting for you in that instance. I don't know exactly how it does it, but it's based off of how much ADA is staked to your pool, and like I said, there's a little bit of luck involved. So if you had like 500,000 ADA, your chances of minting a block are pretty bad. Like we have in our stake pool, the Six City Mermaid stake pool, we've got like 750,000 ADA delegated right now, and we'll get a block every couple of epochs. We've had a couple recently that were pretty lucky, where we got the last 3 epochs we landed one, and this last one we didn't get anything, and we haven't gotten anything this one either. But when there was a time where we had like 2 million, and we were doing, sometimes we'd get lucky and have there was one that we got 3 blocks that epoch, and then 1 1 2 1 1. It was pretty consistent, which was nice.
Is there a way to easily, and don't do this if it takes too much time to calculate or figure out, but is there a way to easily kind of calculate how much that would be worth to the pool operators in fiat or in regular US dollars?
Yeah, so when you mint a block, like I said, the pool operator gets 340 ADA. The current price of ADA is, call it 34.5 cents. A little bit of math, and you get, that's what you get your number. Now, when ADA was at its peak, before the bear market, and it was like $3.50 at its height or something crazy, like that was a sweet time. But now, like I said, if you're at 35 cents times 340, it's $119. Where, even when it was like $2, that's like $700, $800
that you get coming to the pool operator, and then that gets distributed to the people who are also with you.
So 340 go to our stake pool wallet, and then 340 get divvied up among all of the delegators based on like the percentage of whatever their stake is. So if they have 5% of the total stake in that pool, 5% of that 340 ADA goes to them.
Got you. So I went into Eternal this morning or yesterday, and I chose to stake with you. I went to the staking
Let's
tab,
go.
search for you, and I said, "Y'all, this dude is doing us a favor. He's promoting our single. He's making sure he introduces us to the network. He's doing a bunch of work on our behalf, and he's not asking us for a thing. So I'll stake with him to make sure that he can help pay his bills. I mean, he's running some. You're running some nodes, or you're running some computers that take power. You're buying the parts that it takes to run those computers. You're taking time away from your family. So I'm like, for all this work that he's doing, that's benefiting us by getting us introduced to a whole new community and possibly a new audience, and maybe getting people who are going to buy our services, products, or whatever, buy into us at some point in time. I appreciate that. I want to make sure that this guy gets a little something back.
Oh yeah.
We keep mentioning ADA, and I think it's important to mention what ADA, to clarify what ADA is for people as well. Do you mind jumping on that real quick?
Yeah. So ADA is just that's what we call the Cardano coin. So, you have Bitcoin, it's a Bitcoin. Ethereum, some people call it ETH. I've got like 5 ETH. I don't have 5 ETH. I wish I had 5 ETH. I don't have any ETH actually. But ADA is just the Cardano. So if I say, hey, I've got, this mint is 2 ADA, you just know that it is 2 of the Cardano base coins that are currently 34.6 cents.
Perfect. That makes sense to everybody?
Yep.
Cool. All right. And one other thing you mentioned, which is Web3 terminology that probably took me about a week to understand what it was, because I was hearing about it on Twitter Spaces all the time, and I was, I had to pretend I knew what I was hearing and understood what was being talked about. Was a rug pull. What's a rug pull?
Bro, I don't want to talk about a rug pull. So a rug pull can happen in a lot of different ways, and it's really important but I mean, it's very important that people know about what a rug pull is, because it's one of the biggest things that hold crypto back. It's a scam. So it can be done in many ways. A rug pull is creating an asset or something that I'm selling you, you buy it, and then I leave. That can be done in a couple different ways. And it's important, especially on Cardano, there's a couple things that you want to look for before investing. Like there's some due diligence that you need to do. But there were a lot of times where people would, and this is, like I said, I came from Binance. So what would happen, and I've been rug pulled so many goddamn times, is the team would create their token. They would create a liquidity pair with, whatever, a small amount of money. Everybody buys in. They exchange their money for the token. And now the amount of money versus the amount of token is way different than it used to be, where there were way more tokens than money. Now you have way more money than tokens, but that team may have, I don't know, half of the tokens. And in times they would just sell all of their tokens, take all of the money. Now there's no money to back those tokens. So people are left holding just a token. There's nothing up against there for them to swap it out. And then those people who created that token just leave. So just the rug pulled out from under you, you fall on your ass and you lose everything. And that happens with tokens. It happens with NFTs, where, they have this really cool, maybe artwork, and they sell all these NFTs, and the second they sell out, they go, peace. They go, peace.
It's like a Jenga tower. Eventually, they pull that one piece and it all collapses.
Yep. And it feels bad. Like I've lost a ton where it's like, these people seem legit and everything is cool, and next thing you know, they just ghost you. Absolutely ghost you. And so like you can't stop it all, because it's just like there are always going to be scammers. But the thing that I like most about Cardano is there are a lot more people who are public. Like when I was in Binance, you wouldn't dare get on a video call with somebody, just because like most people wouldn't, and I'd ask, like when we get into projects, it's like, hey, can we hop on a video call or a phone call or something? We don't do that. It's like, okay, well, that's a red flag.
Yep.
So I think that if we have enough people like this, where we can create a strong community of people that know each other and trust each other, we can help sniff out the bullshit and find the legitimate projects that are trying to build and artists that are trying to work in this space and elevate them. And all those other people are just going to go somewhere else when they realize that they can't do it as well. You know, they can't scam people nearly as easily here than they could over, you know, somewhere else.
Yeah. And what happens in a rug pull situation too, I guess, tell me if I'm wrong about this, but you still own the NFT. It's just that whatever they promise that you get along with that NFT or the utility is what they're pulling out from under your feet. So you buy an NFT and they say, okay, this NFT gets you a year of mental health counseling, and it also gets you new NFTs for the rest of the year, and it gets you free tickets to 7 concerts over the course of the year. They pull the rug, and you still have the NFT.
Yeah, you still have the NFT, but you're gonna have to pay for that mental health counseling.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and now if the art's cool and that's all you care about, then awesome. But a lot of people like to see that those people they're in the community, they're active, they're working, they're not just taking the money and running. So if you're just, there are certain NFTs that have been rug pulled. I love the artwork, and I will buy them at the heaviest discount because everyone's just selling them for the minimum. And it's like, I actually just legit like this artwork. I'll take this all day. But you know, like you want to see, especially with tokens, I think you'll see a lot of NFTs turn into rug pulls. Tokens are probably the worst because everyone just wants to find that next token that just goes ballistic, right? So they don't even do their due diligence. They just buy it and hope that they don't lose everything. And sometimes that's the risk you take if that's the kind of game you try to play. But for me, all the projects that I bought into, like there are tokens that I bought for projects day one coming into Cardano, like native assets that just came in that a year ago that I'm still holding on to. Like I'm not constantly flipping, I'm accumulating and holding after doing, I've been in a position where I can just hop on calls with some of these people and just try to understand, get to know them and see what kind of people they are and if it's worth, investing in, in what their vision is. So, and that's done pretty well for me. I don't think I've been rug pulled too many times here on Cardano.
That's good to hear. What up, Mizzo?
I saw that, dude. What's going on, dude? Yep.
Oh, what up, man? I just had to come in late. I was just listening to the rug pulls. Goddamn rug pulls.
Goddamn rug pulls.
Yo, I joined mad rug pulls, man. And I do like that about Cardano, that so far people are down to get on a phone call and talk. And actually talk and like end up showing their face. On Cardano, I didn't have one meeting so far where they didn't show their face. And it was cool. And I'm not used to that. So it's really cool. And I like that. So I trust Cardano more right now. You know what I mean? Like I've been involved in some rug pulls, man. So like that's why I'm so paranoid about rap, not to take it somewhere, but like that's why it's like, yo, boom, rap heads. All these things that are happening, there's not enough funds, community ain't big enough to make all the crazy dreams happen right now. So we pulled back and we said, yo, since the community's small, we could actually get at everybody and say, yo, see our roadmap, it's changing drastically. We'll still deliver what we can and bring you surprises, but we're minimizing. And what we're going to deliver is just A, B, and C. You know what I mean? Because like running away too, that's another reason I've been paranoid. I'm like, yo, I want to disappear one day. Am I going to be rug pulling? No, because what was promised will still be there. And no value is going to be taken out when I leave. The value is going to be with the community. You know what I mean? So rug pulls are an important thing to understand. People don't want to talk about it, but it's important to understand because that's what makes like new users scared. Like if you're a new user and you get rug pulled on your 1 or 2 first investments, yo, you're out. It's done.
Out.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the term pyramid scheme is always associated with crypto. And it's, these rug pullers that are to blame for that. And that's essentially what a rug pull is. It's a Ponzi scheme, pyramid scheme. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them. I mean, I'm looking right now. The biggest one coin, they took 10 billion.
They
Over
were
4 billion, between 4 and 10 billion, it says. Thodex was another one, 2 billion. Anubis, DAO, 60 million. When it comes to NFTs, you got the Evolved Apes, the Baller Ape Club, 4 million between those two, 1.3 million. Frosty's NFTs, fake Banksy NFTs. I mean, there's a whole bunch out there. Like you guys are saying, you gotta just be careful, approach with caution, ask questions, and make sure everything you're doing is get as much information as possible.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And one of the I think that's one thing that's I feel like is different about me when I look at and approach NFTs is I don't look at them as necessarily investments, so to speak, for me. I look at them as ways, well, I do, but in a different way. I look at them as ways to invest in an artist. So if an artist is selling their music or their artwork, this is a way for me to give them direct funding and money for their work and cut out the middlemen, give them full control over the process and help them stay away from banks, fees. If they want to be anonymous, cool, that gives them the opportunity to be anonymous. It's just a way to support artists when I bought NFTs in the past. Is that common from the people that you guys have come across, or is that very uncommon for people purchasing? Do most people that you guys know come in here looking for an asset that they hope is going to appreciate and value that they can resell or AKA flip?
Most people.
Yeah, I think so.
Most people on ETH, I'll say. I don't know about Cardano. Most people.
Yeah, Cardano does have there are a lot of collectors. There are a lot of people. And I see that mainly in the music space because like there's not a lot of flipping in there. Like some people may get it, because they're like, hey, this is some of the very earliest. Like you think about some of the earliest music NFTs that exist or what we're working on right now, in the grand scheme of things. And that could be big. I don't see as many degens in that space yet. So I get to interact with a lot of collectors and just with some of the other things like we were talking about with the comic books and with some like the actual physical assets that I'm working on trying to procure. I cater to a lot of collectors, but there are definitely people who expect some financial gain or would not mean, I guess, expect, but hope for seriously hope for financial gain in the long term.
Gotcha. That's perfect.
If I may add on, if I'm supporting an artist, I'll do what you're doing. I'm supporting the artist because I'm supporting the artist. But if I'm supporting a project that has no social impact, then I'm looking to get a bag out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And I'm sure, like I didn't do well stock market stuff either. So that's part of the reason is just because the understanding and the education is part that I got to get myself up on. If I ever do want to look at this as something that I'm going to be investing in, but I think this is just a great way to create ecosystems for artists, ways for them to create value for themselves that isn't bound to or tied to the normal crap. You don't have to depend on Bandcamp to sell your music, for example. You don't have to depend on a website. You can come to a community of people who are very similar to you or like you and more likely to want to buy your product, because most people who are in this space as artists are also entrepreneurs and are thinking with a business mind as opposed to the mindset of, well, I just want an audience and I just want people to buy my stuff. But no, I understand that in order to get an audience, I have to build a community of people and I have to work and engage with these community. I have to build meaningful relationships with these people in this community in order for them to want to support me and buy into what I'm doing so that I can keep putting out more and more music, or I can keep putting out more and more videos or whatever. That's kind of my mindset when it comes to this space. Something else you mentioned was degens. I've heard that mentioned a couple of times, and I've never done any Googling to understand what that is, but that term flies around all the time. Mind breaking down what degens are?
So, I think of degen, and I guess we could probably start with the actual definition, because it probably, let's see if I can find something that it's all, like a lot of people use that as almost like an endearing term here. Because like most, so it's like degenerate, is immoral or corrupt. But like, degens, when we say it, I think it's just people who are they just like they're buying into whatever to make a profit. People are just buying and flipping and snagging up whatever they can uh in hopes of profiting off of it. It's all about the bag.
Okay.
According to Urban Dictionary, an affectionate and self-assigned term that members of the crypto world refer to themselves and others. Even though it stems from degenerate or degenerative gambler, it is generally used as a badge of honor without negative ideals.
Okay. So we're rebels, kind of, so to speak, is probably how they look at themselves, huh? Or
Yeah.
somebody calls themselves a
I'm also seeing someone who truly believes crypto projects to the extreme degree of overconfidence without caring of any consequences.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good definition too, I think.
But yeah, that's
That works. Last question I had on here before we go into American Cursive and the Epoch drop and how that all that went. Just in case anybody wants to pick up and learn a couple nuggets here about what we're doing and why we're playing around in the space is we say tokenized. Can we clarify what it means to tokenize something?
Yeah, so normally, and it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of hard to explain that properly without just like getting in and playing around for a while. So like essentially we're creating a digital asset that has whatever it is that we're talking. So in the case of this song, we tokenized it. We created a token, and that token has the song on it. It represents the right to listen to this song. It represents, you can represent whatever you want, but essentially it's taking and putting whatever you want into it, and we're now creating a digital asset that can be traded. It could be sold. It could be destroyed. It could be you can do pretty much anything with it. And I actually want to load that up so we can take a look at some of the numbers so far.
So like tokenizing American Cursive would include uploading it to, I guess not an exchange, but we'll say uploading it to the Cardano blockchain. It would include uploading the artwork. It would include what you did special with this, where you've got, I guess, 3 different versions of it. You got the standard version, and I'll let you clarify, how to identify these. But you got a standard version, then you've got a version with silver signatures, and then you've got a version with or autographs, and you got a version with gold autographs. So uploading all those and identifying or saying, differentiating between those, is that all part of the tokenizing process?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else that's involved in that? I guess you kind of type in the details about who's on the song and all that. That's part of the tokenization process too, right?
Yep. So we'll take a look at metadata. So metadata is like if I was going to put my stamp on anything in terms of like what I feel like I'm most useful at doing here, it's making sure that metadata is, because metadata is the code that makes all of this look the way it's supposed to look. So for example, like this is the token. We've tokenized this. The token consists of a couple things. Consists of an image, it consists of an audio file, and then it consists of all of the metadata. And the metadata is represented on the side right here in this code that we can see. And it has a couple different things. So on the very top, this line of characters is our policy ID. On Cardano, on like Polygon, ETH, you have a contract, if my memory serves me correctly, which you mint under that contract. On Cardano, it's the policy. Policy ID typically has a lock date. Once that, as long as that policy is unlocked, we can mint new assets on there anytime we want. We can burn assets. There's not a burn wallet like Ethereum and Binance and others have, where it's just a single, 0.00000 whatever X0 that you can just send to, and it just destroys it. If your policy is locked, those items are staying on forever. The next piece we have here is the ticker. The ticker is what makes an item unique. whether it's a token or a NFT. And the ticker here is 6city388 because that's the epoch we're in. And if I mint one token, 6city388, it is an NFT because there's only one of those that exist. In this case, I minted 10,000 of them. Now it becomes a fungible token. There are more than one that share this specific code. When you look at NFTs, and I'll show you in the silver signature, for example, which we have here, the silver signatures that we ran actually have 6city388S71. So the way we did the signatures, the very first one is the gold signature. It's the one of one. You can only find that one per collection. And that would be 6city388G01. And then we have S02, S03, all the way up to, I think we did like 70, I think 71 might have been the very last one. And because only one of those assets exist with that name, that is what defines to Cardano what an NFT is.
Okay.
Now, in the metadata also, everything that is important to what we're doing is here. So our audio file is referenced here. Because this is music, I was actually fortunate enough to lead the charge in the creation of what's called the SIP60. The SIP60 is it is the metadata standard for music on Cardano. So for anyone who does music on Cardano, we have a very specific list of ways that we recommend you format your metadata if you want your music discoverable in any media player that Cardano currently supports. We have our image. So this references this actual image here. We have everybody's social media links all posted through here, so that when somebody comes in, they listen to the song, they go, damn, that was sweet. How do I find these people? And then you got everybody just through here. So the metadata, like I said, is essentially the code that makes an NFT. Like without this, you would have literally nothing.
Gotcha.
It would just be a piece of data floating around in the void.
Perfect. And you upload this to one centralized place? Is that how that works?
No, there's not a centralized place. You would, there are a couple different things that we would need to do to mint. So I upload, in the case of just the regular token, what I do is I take this metadata and we create a .json file. I load it into my minting node and I tell it how many of this asset I want to create. In this case, it was 10,000. And we just, I just run 10,000 of all of them just to have, if I need to send out, load into other places, all of that stuff. It's good to have all of that stuff in there. And then once the node looks at all that information, it can then create the token or NFT because it has essentially the recipe to make this specific unit of data.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense to me. That's perfect. And so we've got 10,000 of these are the fungible tokens, right?
Correct.
And then you've got 78 or 70 some non-fungible tokens that with the silver signature. Those are the 70 some NFTs plus one gold NFT. Is that correct?
Correct. So when we do our epoch drops, every epoch, every 5 days, we create a fungible token. We mint them forever. There's no, I don't want anybody to assign like a resale value to it because we give them out for free to promote the artist, promote music on Cardano, promote Six City. And then we also keep these, what's called a faucet, and I'll go into a faucet in a little bit, open so that artists can still earn money if people want to collect the older epochs without, going on the secondary market and paying higher prices and all that other garbage. They can just support the artist directly. So every 5 days, we make a new token and we put it up available for free to the entire community. It's come and get it. It's free music. So it's been pretty powerful so far, obviously, because most people into NFTs and crypto are, you see a lot of collectors that come in, and it's just a neat little piece to collect. So we minted those tokens, and then every epoch we also do a very, very limited run of NFTs. I grew up in the 90s, and I'm a big baseball fan. I love baseball, have since I was a kid, and I used to collect baseball cards. One of the coolest things that I used to love trying to find in my baseball cards were the ones that had the signatures of the baseball players on them. They'd have them in silver, and there would be you'd be super lucky if you could find one that was in like gold. So that's kind of where I borrowed that idea. But I wanted the artist because like I'm trying to introduce artists to this space. And these artists in most cases are available to the community. They're hopping in spaces, they're joining communities, they're creating their own communities. So to be able to have something that they can sign their name on as a more personalized touch, when the average listener never gets to meet an artist that they like. And how cool is it that you can, in most cases, just hop in my Discord server, and like that dude who was in there yesterday, Malik, was breaking down some of your lyrics. And that dude was going like he really enjoyed. Like I love that dude because he's really into the music. But like most people would never have the opportunity to speak with an artist at the level that they can with what we're doing. And I think having just like the artist signature on there, it's like a nice personalized touch to what we're doing. And then obviously adding some rarity in it, having one of those out of that very, very, very limited collection being in gold. I mean, when you think of NFT collections, you think of thousands of NFTs. Well, most of my collections are sub 70, or at least available. I'll mint a handful of them for the artists. Like I sent you, a handful of them to either do whatever you want, hold it from all the other guys who probably want one. But when you think of like an NFT collection that is like 60, not thousands, and then you have the one gold signature out of all of that, like, I don't know, I think that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. So that actually helps me get to the next part of that. So you said you hold a certain number of the silver series that you give to the artist, right? So in this case, did they all come to me, or did some go to each of our wallets? I haven't looked at any of that yet.
I don't have everybody's wallet, so I just sent them all to you.
Okay, so then I just distribute them to everybody else then.
It's now your responsibility. Keep them,
Cool.
sell them, hide them from them, hold it over their heads for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, we're just
especially Mizzo.
Yeah, I'll give them to everybody but Mizzo.
Yeah,
okay.
That's good. I actually made just enough so he didn't get one.
Perfect.
I know he's out there talking shit with his mic off. It's all good. I love you.
You don't even know what I just said with the mic off. Yo,
I can read lips. I can read lips. It's not pretty.
Cool. And the silver series, how does it, like, I know with Ethereum NFTs, since those are the only ones I'm familiar with now, if somebody goes to resell that NFT, I can get, if I set up my contract right, I can get a percentage of each resale. Like I think I set it up so I get 10% of every resale for any NFT that's sold of mine. When it comes to Cardano and ADA, is that what happens when resales take place?
Yeah. So when you want to mint something, the very, very, very first thing you do is you create a minting address and a policy. The very first thing that you mint under that policy has to be a royalty token. That royalty token says, if this gets sold on a secondary market, I want this percentage of the transaction, and it needs to go to this wallet. Now there are, it should be updated hopefully soon, because you can only put one address.
Okay.
Certain marketplaces like JPEG Store have done a good job of being able to adjust it. Like, for example, I recently took over the Charles token, this little happy bison boy down here. And one of my concerns was, okay, well, I'm taking over this project. We're going to still be selling all the legacy NFTs, but the wallet that's attached to the royalties is theirs. I need it attached to mine so that those funds now go to me because I'm now the owner of this project. And there are like JPEG Store is really, they're like one of the biggest reselling marketplaces on Cardano. Really good too about everything. Communication is really good. Love them.
Okay.
But right now it can only go to one address. So all of the Epoch stuff is under one policy. So it all goes to one address that I have set up for it. So my plan is on probably a quarterly basis to look at all, we don't have a ton of secondary sales, but is to kind of look at those things and pay out accordingly, to make sure that happens. And hopefully soon we'll be able to add, a little bit better payout structure for royalties to make sure that it gets distributed more fairly. But right now it's not, it could be better. It could be way better.
Okay. Can you do something like, I know Mizzo, for example, I know you've talked about multi-sig wallets where you can have it so that multiple people have to sign off on a wallet before something can be transferred in or out of that wallet. Is that something that can happen on Cardano? So in a case where we as a group are putting a song up, is it possible to have it so that all comes out to a multi-sig wallet and then we just distribute, we get together and say, okay, it's time to distribute whatever funds are in here to each of our separate individual wallets?
Yeah, you could do that. You don't need a multi-sig wallet to do that. There's in Eternal Wallet, there's actually a great mechanism that is called a transaction builder, where you can just enter an address, how much do they get, enter address, how much do they get, and you could just split it up like that. But multi-sig wallets are they're starting to become more and more normalized, I guess. I personally don't know enough about multi-sig and how all of that works. There's a lot to it from what I've read, and I don't understand half of it yet, so I'm still working on that.
Okay, cool. Well, that helps. Shit, I think I am fresh out of questions here from my end. Does anybody else have any questions, any thoughts, ideas, feedback? That was easy.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we could also take a look real quick at a couple of things. So the Signature Series, I believe it was sold out in under 2 hours, which is pretty damn awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
you always love to see when that just rolls right on out. As far as total claims on the token, I believe, let's see if I can pull this up really quick because I've got a couple different places that we distribute these tokens, and it's all going to be changing very soon. So 3, 4, 5, I'd say about 600, looks like about 600 wallets currently have your song in it. It's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, that's beautiful. In a day.
That's good for a day, yeah. And people will, as the epoch rolls along, and anything that's left over that doesn't get claimed in like drip drops or any of those claiming platforms will carry over until they're gone. So if in case somebody misses it or they want to get an extra one to send to somebody, that will be available to them. But really quick, I guess I want to touch on Faucet, because I think it's important so that artists know kind of what that is. And you'll see a lot of it in Cardano. So a faucet is essentially, we have it on a website where there's a mint address. So you send a certain amount of ADA, and almost every mint is this way. You send a certain amount of ADA to this address, and then it will trigger a minting mechanism and then send you back tokens, NFTs, whatever. So right now, this particular token is available on different claim platforms, but it's also available just on our basic like faucet that we have set up right here. So the faucet pretty much just says, hey, send 2 ADA, you get 1.2 ADA back, because in Cardano, if you send any native asset, be it an NFT or a token, it has to travel to the destination wallet with a certain amount of ADA. And the minimum, I think is like 1.13 or something. So we just round it to 1.2, call it a day. You get your token. When the sale is over, when the epoch is over, we typically will raise the price. So this was the last epoch that we had. We raise it to 4.25 ADA, and then we send, and that can be changed. My base is 4.25. Then we send the artists, a portion of that every single time somebody mints this, and these mints are open for forever. Like, even if you go back, it's on my website, though. Like I said, I have work to do on the website, but even if you look at like the earliest, this is like the very, very, very first one. It was a test that I did for a song that I wrote. It's still there and you can still get it. So all of these are available. So if somebody is just kind of getting into this and maybe they go, hey, I really like this artist. I see that they did an epoch drop 5 months ago. You can easily go in there, get that song. You're supporting that artist. And, going forward as time goes by, I'll probably just slowly raise the older ones prices to add a little bit more rarity to it and get the artists some extra funds as well.
Okay. And when it comes to the artist funds, I mean, what is there a percentage? How do you calculate what percentage artists get, and how does that get distributed? Well, I think you mentioned that you go and do I guess quarterly accounting or something like that. But
yeah, so normally, like when we're just doing a regular mint, we talk about that all prior to going live. So let's say you wanted to drop an album, you say, hey, we want to drop this for 50 ADA. Cool. Let's talk about what it is that Six City is going to earn. And we typically, like as of right now, I'm doing pretty much all the setup, all the file hosting, all of that stuff at no cost to the artist. We're only making any money when somebody comes in and mints and actually buys something, which I think it's a good deal for both parties, because like, you may be new to the space and you may not have just a ton of money to just throw around to get something set up that you may not, sell out on, because you're new or just the way the market is. So it's kind of and it's another good way of just like getting our name out there, because there are plenty of do-it-yourself platforms where you can mint your NFTs, but we're trying to obviously carve a little space in here for us, and I've found that to be a pretty effective way. So we just, we determine on what that price is. When we're talking about royalties afterwards, like with resale of the signature series stuff, I have a list that I've been keeping track of, but the actual like price breakdown, I still kind of, I guess I will probably take it to a vote or bring it to the artists and say, hey, like, what do you guys think is fair? Like, keep in mind though, like, I gotta, we have bills that we have to pay. So, and that's, I think it's, fair. And if they as a whole decide one thing, then that's what we do. I mean, it's not gonna be a huge, it's not like we're making thousands of dollars off of the resale of these things. They're pretty, most people hold on to them because there's so few of them.
okay. So in the case of this they send 2 ADA, you get 1.2 back. How does that 0.8 differential get
Yeah,
broken?
so during the time where it's essentially free, you send in 2 ADA, 1.2 goes back to the user. Call it 1.8 to not 1.8, 0.18 to like 0.32, depending on how the network is spent for the transaction cost, the gas fee. And then very often there is a tiny bit, call it, like it could be anywhere between like 0.25 and 0.4, somewhere around that area of ADA that's left over, that essentially goes into there's the main, not the main wallet, but there's a wallet for each epoch that it goes in. And then I typically use that to either pay for the signature series stuff, because when we do a signature series, that ADA that you send in I pay for it to come back to you, because the signature series, you only pay with 6 city tokens. It's like my token. But when you send 6 city tokens, because it's a native asset, you also have to send ADA with it. So, and it might be like, 1.2 ADA plus the 1.5 million 6 city tokens. But because you need more ADA to send back with the transaction fee, I load that wallet with enough ADA to cover the transaction fees. So it either goes to that, or I have Freddie, who's my backend developer. I'll throw him, if we have a whole bunch that accumulate over a period of time, then it gives me an extra way of giving him some extra income.
Yeah. And you guys have expenses to cover, such as the nodes. What are some of the expenses that you have to cover just to make it clear?
So for me personally, like it's such a small amount compared to like what I'm using, because most everything I'm just running off of my PC. So it's like electricity and time. Freddie, he pays for the Blockfrost server, a couple other different servers. Like we both host our own IPFS nodes, so we're not like, there's not a ton of expense in there. For most people, if you host an IPFS, there is expense, but we take care of all of that. And he runs the stake pool, which you need a couple servers to run a couple things that he does off of that. So he handles most of that stuff. I forget the exact number, but it's a little under. I feel like we're around like $500 to $600 a month to run all that stuff.
Okay.
So, and it typically, like when we're minting blocks, we're doing pretty well. But obviously the whole goal of Six City is trying to get music on Cardano. So, my hope is that, hey, we featured this artist. Let's talk about dropping an album. Let's talk about dropping an NFT collection, EP, something that we can then earn on. Because even if we're earning like, 0.2 ADA, like most people don't use the faucets that we create, the send to ADA. Most people will just use drip drops. So for example, of all the tokens that have been claimed for your song so far, only 6 have been done off of our faucet. The other couple hundred have been done off of tap tools or drip drops.
Okay. And that's a perfect segue, actually, because tap tools and drip drops, we talked about those. You kind of showed me drip drops a little bit yesterday. You mind showing what drip drops is and how that works?
Absolutely. Yeah, so drip drops is a really cool platform that allows projects to essentially get exposure. So this is the platform. If your wallet is staked to a pool, I think that there's a minimum of 100 ADA that you have to have. Some, like I know Tosi Drop and Tap Tools have a minimum of 100. I think it might be 50 ADA for drip drops. We can enter our wallet address here, check my drops, and here are all the tokens that we can claim. And you can claim up to 10 in a session. It costs, we'll see. I think I've got 10 selected. At the bottom, we can see, yep. If I want to claim this, actually, I don't want to do that just yet. It typically costs around, I think, like 2 ADA to claim, and it gives you, it gives you the ability to learn about different projects. Some of them have actual value that you can buy and sell right now, and it'll actually tell you if it does, like the pricing down here. But I have Charles token. It's a token that I recently took over. We got this up on drip drops because I'm trying to now rebrand this and start to get a community built up again. So I have this in here, and you've got typically I think they have some total withdrawals. You're looking at, thousands of people coming in here, pulling these tokens, and you have all those thousands of people who may not know what Charles token is or what some of these other great projects are, and it gives them an opportunity to get a little bit of that token, do some research on it. It's not something you're going to get you know, you're not going to pull these drip drops tokens and sell them for, you know, $1,000. You're going to have, you know, a tiny bit of the token, but you can accumulate it and eventually it could be, you know, worth something, but it could also be worth absolutely nothing. But it gives you an idea of what projects are out there and allows you to get into their communities and learn more about what they do.
So like the 10,000 that you mentioned would be available through drip drops, not the signature series, right?
Correct. The signature series it's an NFT collection. These are more for fungible tokens. So if we look here, this is newly listed on drip drops, which this one is. So I could select this. I can check this out. It links to pretty much, you know, like whatever we want to link it to. You can view it on Pool PM. Pool.pm is the website that we go to. You can look at the contents of your wallet and listen to your music. Soundrig.io is another great website and great project that you can connect your wallet, and all music that you have in your wallet you're able to listen to, which is pretty damn awesome.
Yeah. And there are opportunities right now because there's like no like premier audio player or something where you can create playlists and shuffle and organize your music and stuff like that on the Cardano network yet, right?
Correct. Hope to see that soon.
Yeah. Shoot. I had another question. I forgot what it was. Oh, so the signature series, the NFTs then, how do people buy those? Where do they go to buy those?
Well, the signature series NFTs are launched pretty much exclusively to our community. So the people who are in the Discord server are typically, like, if you're interested in collecting these, you're probably in the Discord server. I will post it there first in the signature series NFT section of the channel, of the server, I mean to say. And I'll post it up on Twitter so people can grab it. But the Discord typically gets about a minute head start, and that's where they're sold. It's off of a minting website that we have. And like I said, it's first come, first serve. You can buy up to 6 at a time. You can only buy them with the 6 City token. So in the link to, if you know, you can either claim 6 City tokens through Tap Tools or Drip Drops, and pretty soon Tosi Drop, or you can swap ADA for them from our faucet that is linked in the Discord server and on 6city.xyz.
Okay. Oh, and I think I've finally tapped out on questions, man. Anybody else got questions?
So I have a random question. Am I staked to your thing, man? I'm so confused.
Let's find out. Let's do it live.
All right.
So
Can't tell.
King Mizzo. Yep, beautiful. Look at that. So when you load up a wallet in Pool PM, you can see so SCM is that's
City
6 City Mermaids. So that is our stake pool. So you also have 300,000 6 City tokens. I'd like to see that in the millions, please.
I've been dropping people some tokens. That's been my onboarding gifts, a little bit, a few tokens here and there.
Let's go. You also have a copy
I'll
of
keep ripping them, man. I'll support you. I'll keep ripping tokens.
Snakes on a Chain. Let's go. I love this game.
Yo, yeah. You know, you already know. You already know my hopes and dreams. Right.
We can do it. See how far we can go. Everyone's just like watching.
Yeah, so if you remember the old computer game Snake that came out back in what, the 80s, I guess it was. This is a custom version of the game that 6 City made. That I guess, what do you sell it from your site?
Yep. Yeah, I have it on the Discord server. There's not a ton left, but the cool thing about this game is it is oh nice. It is 100% on chain. And what that means, normally with certain tokens like music tokens, we take the files and we upload them to IPFS because they're too big. with Cardano, you're limited to 12 kilobytes of data to make your NFT. So if the text doesn't, each character is 1 byte of data. If you have 12,000 characters, it goes over the limit. You can't mint it as an NFT. So we use IPFS to store things like audio and high quality images. The cool thing about the code, the actual code for the game of Snake, is it can be written in HTML. And it's also, the code for it in HTML is smaller than 12 kilobytes. So we can convert that code to base 64, which most of all these, web browsers, wallets will read, and we convert it to base 64. And this code here represents the entirety of the code for the game Snake. So just by putting these letters in the order that you see them in, will create this beautiful game.
That's dope. That's in less than 12 kilobytes. That's a small amount. That's a super tiny amount.
That is, very tiny.
So like you can't, an MP3 is way bigger than 12 kilobytes. So you have to store the MP3 separately on another server, which is what IPFS is what is it? Interplanetary File System is what it stands for, something like that. And it's basically IPFS is a whole bunch of different servers across the internet have a copy of this particular file or your MP3, so that if somebody wants to go download a copy of the MP3 for, at some point, they're not going to get, server down, you can't get your MP3 because it's spread out across the internet all across the world, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. Did I have any other questions? We talked about so much yesterday. I'm looking at my notes from yesterday, see if there's anything else from there. Well, what you're doing, you're pretty much a solo operation. You're doing this, well, not solo. You've got one partner. You mentioned, what was his name?
Freddie.
So
Freddie's a wizard.
You and Freddie, but you also have a lot of goals, aspirations, and things that you want to accomplish with your mission on Cardano. What would you say is your mission first?
The mission is to make Cardano the #1 spot for music. That's, I think, the goal of Six City. And then I will use the skills that I have to just make that happen. And then while I'm doing that, if there's, I'm constantly looking for purpose. You know what I mean? As weird as that sounds, like, constantly in search of, more meaning, more purpose. And if I can be useful here, like I said, that's how we all win. Like if everyone is just out for themselves, then you're in like a dog eat dog space that just doesn't help elevate people. And Cardano has too much like good going on to do that kind of stuff. So if I can be in a space and bring in a ton of people, elevate them, like, it's eventually we're all going to elevate. That's the whole purpose of all of this, is to get us all in a better place and really utilize the technology for good. Like there's so much good that can come from what we're working on and how we're working on it. And it's just like, just building, teaching, making sure that people are kind of, aware and trying to sniff out as many bad actors as we can and get them out of this space. It's just like, and you gotta, any community, if you have some people who are trying to do harm, like you gotta either help fix them or get them out, because they're going to cause so much harm to the population, and education and transparency, I think, is some of the most important things that we can do. And that's why, that's why I said in the beginning, like, I love the fact that I can hop on a video call with someone and be able to talk about this kind of stuff, where in some other spaces, that was never a thing that you could do. You would never dream of doing that.
Yes.
So that's how we do it.
Okay. And with your mission, with you and Freddie doing your thing, we talked about some of the things that you need, or that would help you be more agile and more effective at what you do. I got a couple notes. one of the things you need is more artists, more musicians, so that you can make sure that you keep these Epoch drops going with fresh new music and keep introducing new artists to the other people in the Cardano community who are usually people who are supporting social impact or social good causes, right? Obviously you need money. Everybody needs money in order to
I need money.
keep the lights on, obviously.
Yes, sir.
You need help with web page design and updates, things of that nature, right?
Yep.
Let's see. And right now you're looking for artists to fill the slots for the March through June Epoch dates, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
Most of those dates, at least.
catalog, let's see. So currently we are booked until March 11th. So I'm looking for, and that's, so March 6th, actually Rax is on March 6th. After that, she's the last one that I have here. So I'm looking for March 11th onward. Obviously, as much as I can fill it up, like normally the nice thing about doing this since March 31st of 2022 is if somebody just, and I've had this a couple of times, not a ton, but sometimes I've had an artist just totally ghost me. And it's like, okay, well, shit, I need to drop this thing tomorrow. What am I going to do? I have people that I can reach out to. You guys on Saturday will meet Crime Fighter. I don't know how many there's like 8 dudes in that crew. They're all legit. I love Crime Fighter. Those are my guys. But anytime I've ever been in a situation where it's like, yo, this dude just ghosted me, every single one of those guys are their own really, really, really awesome artist. And then as a collective, they're a great group. So they've always got something just on the back burner that's like, yo, here we go. I've already got artwork ready for you. I already have their signatures on file. So I just plug and play. Those guys have saved my ass a good couple of times. But I'm at a point now where I've got some really solid relationships with some musicians who have been, if something like this happens, I know that I can call on them and they've got something ready to roll. Odd Shape Shadow is the same. Matt Diamond, for sure. You guys will meet Matt Diamond most likely on Saturday. I've talked to that. I think I talked to that dude like 3 times today already. I freaking love this guy. He's a great artist down in Baltimore, Maryland, and he'll just call me on the phone. Like sometimes, like he called me randomly at like 11 p.m. like a couple of weeks ago. He's like, "Hey, sick, what's good, man?" I was like, "Dude, is everything okay?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm just chilling. Just haven't talked to you in a couple of days, making sure you're cool, make sure the family's good." Like, man, I need people like you in my life, man. I need way more people like you in my life because like you just don't get that anymore, right?
That's one of the things that kind of got me into Web3 too, is that you get more of a personal, a human connection with a lot of artists. You look on social media in general, it's a peacock show, and people aren't really interested in building real, genuine relationships. But through here, I mean, I've met some people I've built some really genuine, solid connections with, and we're actually asking each other about family, how you're doing, and actually checking in on each other as human beings. That's one of the most attractive things to me. About that March 11th date, I'm going to check in with the crew, but I'm thinking about seeing if we can do a GRYSKLL run with you. Maybe do a few epochs back to back with a few different members of GRYSKLL, separate solo projects and things. How do you feel about doing things like that?
I think that I will only do that if you guys can hook me up with one of those fucking sweet hats with the GRYSKLL logo, because I see a couple of you guys sporting it and that looks so fucking cool.
I think we could work something out, man.
Let's go. Yeah, whatever dates you guys want. Like I want to feature new artists, but I also want to feature people who are active in the community. And if you guys, if you like Cardano and you think that this is a place you could really do some good work, then I want to give you guys as much exposure to the community as possible. So yeah, I'm down with whatever. If there's significant dates you want to do, if there's certain sales you want to drop, back-to-back stuff, talk it over. This document is totally like it's open. Anyone can take a look at it. I'll send it to you right now if you want to look it over. And
yeah,
like I said, if there's something cool that you want to do, we'll just drop those dates in there, and
absolutely,
that's what it is. But I do have to hop out of here. I promised my wife that we would watch a movie before she had to go to bed.
That's cool.
I'm already like a
let you
little
know we
over.
have one song identified already though for you for the drop. So if you want to pin us in for March 11th, that's cool, and we can talk about the other a run after that.
Perfect. I love it.
Cool, man.
I love it. Thank
I
you.
think I've got everything else here, man. So thank you, bro. Oh, you asked also other things that you say you need, just so we let anybody know in case somebody's watching the stream. A couple other things you said you need is you want to have a music player for your website built and available.
Yes. So with I use WordPress. So with the current configuration that we have, there is a music player. I'm just a shit web developer, man. So it's just like, I need to find, someone that might be able to help out with that. So web development, delegators to the Six City Stake Pool, musicians that I can feature on the drop, but more importantly, musicians that I can make a sale for, so that one, I can help generate them income, and then in return, I can generate a little bit of income. Like my goal is I'd love to have, like my goal is this year to have 100 active sales going on for music by the end of the year. I think we'll be able to do that pretty easily. I think we're at like 40 right now, but some of them have the potential of they can sell out. There are some people who want like an unlimited sale, where it's like almost like your digital download, to where someone wants to support the artist. It's a fungible token that they can mint to support the artist. It may not be, generative one of one art, but it's another way to consume music and to support an artist at the same time. So those are really the big things that I'm looking for. So if you can't mint something from an artist to support the artist or Six City financially, totally cool. If you have ADA and you're not staked to a pool, I'm going to go to the edge of the earth to try to tell you why it should be Six City. Please consider Six City Stake Pool. And then, if you are an artist or an artist who you think might be good in Web3 or might just enjoy this new technology, like put me into contact with them, because I just want to hop on a call and explain this. I'll explain it as I've explained it a million times before, every single time. I don't get tired of it at all, though at some point in time I will put some video content together that better explains some of these things, because I have all the tools to do it. I'm just a lazy shit sometimes, and sometimes get busy with stuff.
If you're doing a lot, I get it, man. That's perfect. I guess the last thing we can do honestly without you, but I just want to mention that you are a member of the Color the Blockchain team.
Hell yeah.
We're hosting an event Saturday, and if you want to jump with your wife, that's cool. I can let Mizzo speak on Color the Blockchain, but thank you for getting us the artists for Saturday's event, where we're going to be shining some light on blankets to the streets and hosting our first live. If you got to jump, go ahead. But Mizzo, want to go ahead and give a little plug for Color the Blockchain in case it has to run?
Yeah, I do have to run. Peace out, guys. I really appreciate you having me on here, and I will talk to you all soon.
No problem, man. Thank you very much, man. We appreciate your time, bro.
Later,
bro.
Peace.
Yeah, that's proper. We'll speak about the thing on Saturday.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we plug Color the Blockchain, and then I'll kill the live part, and then if you guys want to hang on for a minute, we can.
Yeah.
recap.
So Color the Blockchain is where we bring equal access into Web3 and general technology through providing resources such as computers, internet cards, and basic education delivered in the cadence of pop culture. And we have a few initiatives that we're launching. We've been building for a minute. It's connected to a nonprofit in Canada called Become Love Foundation, and it's one of our initiatives. And this initiative is going to be pushed onto the Cardano blockchain, where we're going to have a few collections. It'll be revealed and spoken about soon, you know what I mean? But you'll be able to support two of our initiatives. One initiative is where we raise funds to bring 5 youth computers in indigenous community somewhere in BC. And then we will teach them how to build those computers. Those are Pi computers. You could look up Raspberry Pi and probably Banana Pi, like Dot Pi. There's a bunch of them. It's these small boards, very portable, very light, and those are like computers, and you can build them. So we're going to teach these kids how to build them. And now they're going to have these things. And with it, we will program it to make sure it has different programs, maybe a music making program, maybe something to do with digital art, whatever it may be. We'll ask the community what they really need before we program it. You know what I mean? And the other thing we're doing this Saturday is part of our second half of our initiative right now for Color the Blockchain. We're onboarding IRL in real life charities and social impact projects that are focused on people of color and women, and even ones that are led by people of color and women, to color the blockchain. And what we're doing is on Saturday is our first episode where it's an onboarding stream almost. We come through, we let the in real life charity or social impact project share what they're about. We connect them hopefully in real time with other community members from Cardano that are like-minded, and hopefully put them in the same room if it's possible so they could get to know each other. They could already build some bridges, find some resources while they're getting understanding. And we teach them how to empower their fundraising campaigns through using NFTs and cryptocurrency. You know, that's a long-winded one, but that's one of many that people will hear. I know they're hearing it, if you're hearing it live or hearing it recorded. There's a lot to say, and there's a lot to do, and there's a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? And while we do this work, the more work we do, the less words we'll have to say. But right now we have to explain everything extremely thoroughly. And this Saturday is our first event, 9 a.m. PST. We have Blankets to the Streets coming through. It's a charity from Seattle where they give people blankets. And it's a dope cause. We believe in it. And boom, they're going to be there speaking about the cause and learning about crypto. So come through and learn about what they're doing. If you're one of the people in the space, come through and support them. You know what I mean? Teach them, because we've all been taught by somebody. So teach them, each one teach one, you know, and let's just do this, color the blockchain. Bam. Let's go.
You say bada boom, bada bang, go palm trees and mangoes.
It's no palm tree and mango time right now. We're on the grind.
It's
That's pause for a minute.
Yeah, one other thing about Blankets to the Streets, they're based in I think you said Washington, and they're actually providing blankets to homeless people in 27 states. We got her on the line, the founder on the line with somebody last month, and she, first time she met this gentleman I got her on the line with, she sent him 50 blankets to provide to some homeless people he was providing meals to in the streets. So she's really about her business when it comes to doing a charity thing, and she deserves some support. She I don't want to say too much more before Saturday. Get to know her. She's an amazing human being who just has a big ass heart, and she deserves the support. One of the other reasons one of the things we're doing with Color the Blockchain is we're looking for support primarily right now on the Cardano network. We're building with the Cardano community because that's a community that is so focused on social impact and social good. So those are the people that are most likely to give to a charitable cause and to help. Even if they're not giving money, they may give time, they may give referrals, they may just give more of a spotlight, attention to it, and help. They really are passionate, that from what we're understanding and from some of the meetings I've sat in on, these people are really passionate about helping people succeed when they're trying to do good for other people. Right.
100%. Love Cardano for that. Honestly, I love Cardano right now. Like, for a minute, I wanted to jump into Cardano. When I was doing the Roadman crypto stuff, we were researching more, and we'd also always have to, when we're highlighting social impact, it would be Cardano, most likely.
Yeah.
And it's just, it took so long for me to understand ETH, and then I had to understand Polygon, and like just figuring all this out, you just get lost in it. And it just felt like so much work. It's like getting a new piece of music equipment. I know for other people, for me, if I get a new piece of equipment, it kind of sits there for a minute because I have to prepare. Like for the day when I understand how to use it, it's a whole it's a ritual. I got to prepare to figure it out, So it's the same with Cardano, but I feel like while my purpose just kept, your purpose is your purpose. We're living it as we live it right now. So it's like, even if it feels derailed. So it's like, right now, it just felt like Color the Blockchain. This is what we have to build right now. We have to focus on that, the social impact, the sense of urgency to make sure we build it right now. You know what I mean? Before, when if I may, let me know if it's off topic. But when the government or when the news, when the media just says no to something, that's okay because they're not always wrong, but they're also not always right. And just do your own research and just, you know what I mean? Banks are a scam. Fiat money's a scam. Taxes are a scam. Everything's a scam. You know what I mean? It's what community you build with and who you build with. If you're going to go build with a project that's just about making money, that's what it is. If you want to focus on something with good vibes, you're going to see who's who. And that's why I like the Cardano blockchain. You know what I mean? I just went off topic and I brought myself back.
I mean, even with your scam thing, I'd even venture to say a lot of maybe a great deal of the cryptocurrency world is a scam too. But now is a time where there's a window to get in and do actually make an impact. And maybe in the long run there will be some opportunities, but they're everything that's not under your control is a risk. And right now it's just about kind of riding that wave and surfing it and finding what I find is the most valuable thing out of this, which is the people, the community that I'm connected with. Because even if crypto becomes crap, I'll have connections with real people who I know are more similarly minded to me that I can still leverage if this all falls apart.
Yeah. No, it's the Wild West. I shouldn't have used those words because using those words kind of pushes people away. While I was using it, I was like, I could have used the positive word explaining the positive part of it. You know what I mean? Because yeah, you know what I mean? Because the reason I brought it up in reality was the urgency. Like I was explaining it wrong, but it's like the urgency. There are good things here, and there is an urgency to get involved now because just like every other technology that like has taken people like this is going to be a part of everyone's life. And it's very important that we get in here now. You know what I mean? Like we don't want to be renting virtual land. We want to own it. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Yeah.
I mean, it's just what they call it Web3 because, in the early phases of the internet, the first phase of the internet, there was a small group of people who made all the money up front. These people, the people who made the AOLs and the companies that made all the bricks because they were in early, they were involved early. Web 2 was the rise of social media. That's when all the companies like Facebook and Twitter came up and made their money. This is the next shift in the way people use the internet. And the people who are a small percentage of the people who are in early are going to make a good chunk of the money moving forward. Right now, all the big corporations are moving in. So this is why there's a small window, because once these big corporations figure out how to start getting your money, it's not going to look like it looks now. Like all the stuff that we're doing right now and that we're learning about right now is hard to learn because there aren't very many people doing it. But once these big corporations figure out systems and processes for doing it, it's going to look just like Instagram and Twitter and all that now. It's going to be very easy to use, but you're not going to have any opportunities to make some money on it. So this is why I think now is the time to get involved. And you got to kind of burn. You got to put some real effort and some time in if you want to get it right now. The window, we missed a big window already earlier this year when people started looking at the crypto market as if it crashed. It just like the regular markets, everything financially is looking like shit right now, to be honest. But when it comes to financials, it's always valleys and peaks. Things rise, things fall. We're in one of those dark periods right now, but there's a good chance that there will be another opportunity to make some money before this stuff becomes corporatized. And this is why now matters to me. Mm-hmm. But man, this is perfect, man. Any other thoughts before we shut down the stream at least?
No, you actually said it, man.
Yeah, perfect, man. Well, thank you all for jumping on, man. I'm gonna kill the stream if y'all want to hang on. Cool. If y'all already shut down, I'm cool too, man. But anybody watching, thank you very much for staying on this evening. Hope you learned something about Cardano. If you have questions, put them in the comments, DM, whatever you need to do. I'll check for them, and if there's a need for follow up or anything like that, I'll follow up.